Caernarfon is a royal town, community, and port in Gwynedd, Wales, with a population of 9,615. It lies along the A487 road, on the eastern shore of the Menai Strait, opposite the Isle of Anglesey. The city of Bangor is 8.6 miles to the northeast, while Snowdonia fringes Caernarfon to the east and southeast. Carnarvon and Caernarvon are Anglicised spellings that were superseded in 1926 and 1974, respectively. Abundant natural resources in and around the Menai Straits enabled human habitation in the area during prehistory. The Ordo Vices, a Celtic tribe, lived in the region during classical antiquity. The Roman fort Segontium was established around AD 80 to subjugate the Ordo Vices during the Roman conquest of Britain. The Romans occupied the region until their departure in the 5th century, after which Caernarfon became part of the Kingdom of Gwynedd. In the late 11th century, William the Conqueror ordered the construction of a motte at Caernarfon as part of an attempt at conquering the region. He was unsuccessful, and Wales remained independent until around 1283. In the 13th century, Llywelyn ap Gruffydd, ruler of Gwynedd, refused to pay homage to Edward I, prompting the English conquest of Gwynedd. This was followed by the construction of Caernarfon Castle, one of the largest and most imposing fortifications built by the English in Wales. In 1284, the English-style county of Caernarfon was established by the Statute of Rhuddlan. The same year, Caernarfon was made a borough, a county and market town, and the seat of English government in North Wales. The ascent of the Tudor dynasty to the throne of England eased hostilities between the English and resulted in Caernarfon Castle falling into a state of disrepair. The city has flourished, leading to its status as a major tourist centre and seat of Gwynedd Council, with a thriving harbour and marina. Caernarfon has expanded beyond its medieval walls and experienced heavy suburbanisation. Its population includes the largest percentage of Welsh-speaking citizens anywhere in Wales. The status of royal borough was granted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1963 and amended to royal town in 1974. The castle and town walls are part of a World Heritage Site described as the Castles and Town Walls of King Edward and Gwynedd. History. The present city of Caernarfon grew up around and owes its name to its Norman and Edwardian fortifications. The earlier British and Roman settlement at Segontium was named for the nearby river Segontium. After the Roman withdrawal from Britain around AD 410, the settlement continued to be known as Caer Segont and as Caer Custodiant, of the History of the Britons, cited by Bishop Ussher in Newman's Life of St. German, both of which names appear among the 28 cities of Britain in the History of the Britons traditionally ascribed to Nennius. The work states that the inscribed tomb of Constantius the Emperor was still present in the 9th century. The medieval romance about Maximus and Ellen, Maxen's Dream, calls her home Caerbercene, and other pre-conquest poets such as Hywel ab Owain Gwynedd also used the name Cegestenin. The Norman motte was erected apart from the existing settlement and came to be known as Caernarfon, the fortress in Arfon. A 1221 charter by Llywelyn the Great to the canons of Penman Priory on Anglesey mentions Caernarfon. The Brut mentions both Caernarvon and Caernarvon. In 1283, King Edward I completed his conquest of Wales, which he secured by a chain of castles and walled towns. The construction of a new stone Caernarfon castle seems to have started as soon as the campaign had finished. Edward's architect, James of St. George, may well have modelled the castle on the walls of Constantinople, possibly being aware of the town's legendary associations. Edward's fourth son, Edward of Caernarfon, later King Edward II, was born at the castle in April 1284 and made Prince of Wales in 1301. A story recorded in the 16th century suggests that the new prince was offered to the native Welsh on the premise that he was born in Wales and could speak never a word of English. However, there is no contemporary evidence to support this. Caernarfon was constituted a borough in 1284 by charter of Edward I. The charter, which was confirmed on a number of occasions, appointed the mayor of the borough constable of the castle ex officio. The former municipal borough was designated a royal borough in 1963. The borough was abolished by the Local Government Act 1972 and 1974, and the status of royal town was granted to the community which succeeded it. Caernarfon was the county town of the historic county of Caernarfonshire. In 1911, David Lloyd George, then Member of Parliament for Caernarfon boroughs, which included various towns from Leyton to Conwy, agreed to the British royal family's idea of holding the investiture of the Prince of Wales at Caernarfon Castle. The ceremony took place on July 13, with the royal family paying a rare visit to Wales, and the future King Edward VIII was duly invested. In 1955 Caernarfon was in the running for the title of Capital of Wales on historical grounds, but the town's campaign was heavily defeated in a ballot of Welsh local authorities, with 11 votes compared to Cardiff's 136. Cardiff therefore became the Welsh capital. On July 1, 1969 the investiture ceremony for Charles, Prince of Wales was again held at Caernarfon Castle. The ceremony itself went ahead without incident despite terrorist threats and protests, which culminated in the death of two members of Mudiad Amddiffyn Cymru, Orwyn Jones and George Taylor, who were killed when their bomb intended for the railway line at Abergele in order to stop the British Royal train exploded prematurely. The bomb campaign was organised by the leader of Mudiad Amddiffyn Cymru, John Jenkins. He was later arrested after a tip-off and was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. The history of Caernarfon is an example where the rise and fall of different civilizations can be seen from one hilltop, are discussed in John Michael Greer's book The Long Descent. He writes of Caernarfon. Geography: Caernarfon is situated on the southern bank of the Menai Strait facing the Isle of Anglesey. It is situated 8.6 miles southwest of Bangor, 19.4 miles north of Porthmadog and approximately 8.0 miles west of Llanbrys and Snowdonia National Park. The mouth of the River Sea enters in the town, creating a natural harbour where it flows into the Menai Strait. Caernarfon Castle stands at the mouth of the river. The A487 passes directly through Caernarfon, with Bangor to the north and Porthmadog to the south. Llanbrys at the foot of Snowdon can be reached via the A4086, which heads east out of the town to Cape Curig. Heading north out of the town is the Llan Las Menai cycle path to nearby Wyfflynheli. Heading south out of the town is the Llan Afon cycle path, which leads to Bryn-Syr, near Criccieth. The route provides views into the Snowdonia Mountains, down along the Llan Peninsula and across to the Isle of Anglesey. The restoration of the Welsh Highland Railway or Rheilffordd Eryri, a narrow-gauge heritage railway, was completed in 2011 and runs from Caernarfon to Porthmadog where it connects with the Festiniog Railway. Economy: Caernarfon's historical prominence and landmarks have made it a major tourist centre. As a result, many of the local businesses cater for the tourist trade. Caernarfon is home to numerous guest houses, inns and pubs, hotels, restaurants and shops. The majority of shops in the town are located either in the centre of town around Poole Street and Castle Square, or on Dock Victoria. A number of shops are also located within the town walls. The majority of the retail and residential section of Dock Victoria was opened in 2008. The retail and residential section of Dock Victoria is built directly beside a Blue Flag Beach marina. It contains numerous homes, bars and bistros, cafe copyrights and restaurants, an award-winning arts centre, a maritime museum and a range of shops and stores. Poole Street and Castle Square contain a number of large, national retail shops and smaller independent stores. Poole Street is a pedestrianised street and, as such, serves as the town's main shopping street. Castle Square, commonly referred to as the Maze by both Welsh and English speakers, is the market square of the town. A market is held every Saturday throughout the year and also on Mondays in the summer. The square was revamped at a cost of £2.4 million in 2009. However, since its revamp the square has caused controversy due to traffic and parking difficulties. During the revamp, it was decided to remove barriers between traffic and pedestrians, creating a shared space, to try and force road users to be more considerate of pedestrians and other vehicles. This is the first use of this kind of arrangement in Wales, but it has been described by Councillor Bob Anderson as being too ambiguous for road users. Another controversy caused by the revamp of the Maze was that a historic feature of the town was taken down, namely a very old oak tree, situated outside the HSBC Bank. when the Mas was reopened in July 2009 by the local politician and Heritage Minister of Wales, Alun Ffred Jones AM, he said, "The use of beautiful local slate is very prominent in the new Mas. There are many old public houses serving the town, including the Four Owls, the Anglesey Arms Hotel, the Castle Hotel, the Crown, Morgan Lloyd, Pendyche and the Twithill Vaults. The oldest public house in Caernarfon is the Black Boy Inn, which remained in the same family for over 40 years until sold in 2003 to a local independent family business. The pub has stood inside Caernarfon's town walls since the 16th century, and many ghosts have been sighted within the building. In and around the town walls are numerous restaurants, public houses and inns, and guest houses and hostels. Local government, Gwynedd Council's head offices are situated in the town. The local court serves the town and the rest of northwest Wales, and in 2009 moved to a multi-million-pound court complex on Llanberis Road. The Caernarfon UK Parliament constituency was a former electoral area centred on Caernarfon. Caernarfon is now part of the Arfon constituency for both the UK Parliament and the National Assembly for Wales. The town is twinned with Llandudno and Brittany. Demography: the population of Caernarfon Community Parish in 2001 was 9,611. Caernarfon residents are known colloquially as Cofis. The word Cofi is also used locally in Caernarfon to describe the local Welsh dialect, notable for a number of words not in use elsewhere. Within Wales, Gwynedd has the highest proportion of speakers of the Welsh language. The greatest concentration of Welsh speakers in Gwynedd is found in and around Caernarfon. According to the 2001 census, 86.1% of the population could speak Welsh. The largest majority of Welsh speakers was found in the 10 to 14 age group, where 97.7% could speak it fluently. The town is nowadays a rallying point for the Welsh nationalist cause. Landmarks Caernarfon Castle The present castle building was constructed between 1283 and 1330 by order of King Edward I. The banded stonework and polygonal towers are thought to have been an imitation of the walls of Constantinople. The impressive curtain wall with 9 towers and 2 gatehouses survive largely intact. Caernarfon Castle is now under the care of CADW and is open to the public. The castle includes the Regimental Museum of the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. Caernarfon Town Walls The medieval town walls, including 8 towers and 2 twin-towered gateways, form a complete circuit of 730 metres around the old town and were built between 1283 and 1285. The walls are in the care of CADW, but only a small section is accessible to the public. The town walls and castle at Caernarfon were declared part of a World Heritage Site in 1986. According to UNESCO, the castle and walls, together with other royal castles in Gwynedd, are the finest examples of late 13th century and early 14th century military architecture in Europe. Church of St. Piblig dedicated to St. Piblig, the son of St. Ellen and Maxen Ledig. The church is built on an important early Christian site, itself built on a Roman Mithraeum or Temple of Mithras, close to the Segontium Roman fort. A Roman altar was found in one of the walls during 19th century restoration work. The present church dates mainly from the 14th century and is a Grade I listed building. Statue of David Lloyd George The statue in Castle Square was sculpted by W. Goscombe John and was erected in 1921 when Lloyd George was Prime Minister. David Lloyd George was the Member of Parliament for the area from 1890 to 1945. The Old Market Hall The Old Market Hall in Hole-in-the-Wall Street and Crown Street was built in 1832, but the interior and roof were rebuilt later in that century. It is a Grade II listed building. Others The old court buildings, replaced in 2009 by a new complex designed by HOK on the former Segontium school site in Llanberis Road, are situated inside the castle walls, next door to the Anglesey Arms Hotel and to the Gwynedd County Council buildings in Pendyche. They are grand buildings, especially the exterior of the former Magistrates' Court, which features a Gothic architecture style of decoration. The old buildings adjoin what used to be Caernarfon Jail, which has been closed since about the early 20th century and has now been converted into further council offices. There is a small hospital in the town, Ysbyty Eryri. The nearest large regional hospital is Ysbyty Gwynedd, in Bangor. Previously, Caernarfon had been chosen as the location of a new prison. HMP Caernarfon would have held up to 800 adult males when constructed, and would have taken prisoners from all over the North Wales area. However, in September 2009 the UK government withdrew plans to construct the prison. Transport: Caernarfon was at one time an important port, exporting slate from the Dyffryn Nanl quarries. Caernarvon railway station served the town from 1852 to 1970 and was one of the last passenger services to be closed under the Beeching Acts. It is now the site of a Morrison's supermarket. The site served as the terminus of the Bangor and Caernarvon Railway, and an end-on junction with the Carnarvon Railway and the Carnarvon and Llanbrys Railway. All three companies were operated by and absorbed into the London and North Western Railway by 1871. The route of the line southwards passed through a tunnel under central Caernarfon that was converted in 1995 for road traffic. The new Caernarfon railway station in St Helens Road is the northern terminus of the narrow-gauge Railford Eryri/Welsh Highland Railway. Bus services in the town are provided by Arriva Buses Wales, GHA Coaches, Express Motors and Paydarn Bus. Caernarfon Airport is 4.5 miles to the southwest, and offers pleasure flights and an aviation museum. Education: there are 4 primary schools in Caernarfon, Ysgol y Hender being the largest. The others are Ysgol y Gelli, Ysgol Sant Helen and Ysgol Maesincla. The single secondary school serving Caernarfon and the surrounding areas are Ysgol Syhuo and currently has between 900 and 1,000 pupils from ages 11 to 18. Ysgol Pendala, a school for children with special needs, serves all of Arfon. Coleg Menai is a further education college for adult learners. Notable people, see category, people from Caernarfon. Sport: Caernarfon Town FC is a football team that plays at the Oval, in Division 1 of the Welsh Alliance League. Caernarfon Wanderers play in Division 2 of the Welsh Alliance. There is a rugby union club, CLWB Rugby Caernarfon, which plays in Division 1 north of the Swalic League. The club's home ground is Y Morfa. Culture: Caernarfon hosted the National Eisteddfod in 1862, 1894, 1906, 1921, 1935, 1959 and 1979. Unofficial National Eisteddfod events were also held there in 1877 and 1880. Caernarfon also hosted the 30th Annual Celtic Media Festival in March 2009. Cultural destinations include Galeri, Box and Arel Pendiach. Galeri is a creative enterprise centre that houses a gallery, a concert hall, cinema, a number of companies, and a range of other creative and cultural spaces. Box is a young artists cooperative and an arts centre that holds exhibitions and a range of cultural and creative events. Arel Pendiach is a ground-floor exhibition space adjoining the Tourist Information Centre opposite Caernarfon Castle. The gallery has a varied and changing programme of exhibitions throughout the year. See also, George Herbert, 5th Earl of Carnarvon. References. Bibliography. External links, official website, Encyclopaedia Britannica Caernarfon, visit to Caernarfon, Doc Victoria Caernarfon, Box Arts Centre.